We talk to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Lance Dean Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello and welcome to Industry Interview. I think this is 117. I've done 117 of these since the channel started 3 years ago, and in fact the third year anniversary of the Outcast Creative channel in its current form is coming up next month. Coincides sort of around my birthday. Now I might be looking quite orange today, you might say. That's because I've got a very orange summery t-shirt on. So I decided to go for a matching cap and go all out. There is a ton of industry interviews coming both this week and next week. We've got a number of independent filmmakers coming in. I've got a production designer coming in. We've got a script supervisor, continuity person coming in to do an interview in keeping with my aim of interviewing absolutely everybody on a film set by the end of the year, including the catering department. So if you work in catering, get in touch with me, because as we know, the most important person on any film set is in fact the caterer. If your catering is no good, your film ain't happening. Now, my good friend Gary Bolter, who as we know is the head of the Outcast Creative chapter in Australia, said, I have an independent filmmaking buddy who needs supporting. Can you help him out? Well, that is why the channel's here. Of course, we interview creatives right across the board, not just filmmakers, musicians, games designers, DJs, all sorts of artists. So if you are one and you have a project and you want to get in touch with us, just write to us of the Outcast Creative Facebook page, or you can find me on Twitter under Lance Nielsen WD. But the people that I really love to support, who always jump to the front of the queue, are independent filmmakers. But before I bring my guest in, let me introduce my co-host for this evening. It's Rachel Percy-Art. Good to have you, Rachel. Thanks for coming on, and sorry for sending you the link at the last moment. How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just glad that it opened up on time. It wasn't wanting to.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's the heat in the UK or what's happening, but I've been having all kinds of technical issues today. So in the event that I get cut off, which will, fingers crossed, that won't happen. But if it does, I know that you'll sage on and continue in my actions. But hopefully that won't be the case. So I think actually
let's avoid disaster.
Yeah, I think the project that we're going to talk about tonight, as long as, of course, our guest's career, Life After Man, is a project that's going to be rather up your street, because it's a post-apocalyptic zombie kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, it looks really interesting. Shall we have a quick look at Kickstarter before we bring our guest in? So this is the Kickstarter, and there is a video. So I'm going to play the video. Rachel, do let me know if you can hear the audio. If not, I'll restart.
Okay.
You hear the audio okay?
To your soldier.
Yeah, can hear.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's right.
So where did the infected come from?
I just got told to protect the people.
Hi, I'm Gareth Carr, and I'm the writer and director of Life After Man, a completed post-apocalyptic feature film, and I'm here to ask for your help to finish it properly. Life After Man is the story of two sisters surviving on an isolated farm after the world has collapsed. It's about family, fear, and holding on to hope when everything else is gone. We've already shot and edited the entire film. It's done. story locked, sculpted, and ready for its final polish. Now we're raising funds to finish post-production and bring the full emotional and cinematic impact to life. Your support will help us pay for dialogue editing so every word feels grounded and clear, sound design to create the eerie, immersive world of the infected, and a professional color grade to give the film its haunting cinematic tone. This isn't a big budget production. We shot it independently with a tiny crew, all in rural Australia. But what we captured is something I'm incredibly proud of. If you're into films like The Road, Leave No Trace, or It Comes at Night, you'll connect with this story. Put everything into getting this far. Now we just need that final push. Your pledge, whether it's $15 or $500, will help us finish strong. We've got some amazing rewards too. Signed posters, behind the scenes visual diary, even a limited edition vinyl soundtrack. So thank you so much for watching and for helping bring Life After Man to life. We're nearly there. Let's finish it together.
Fab stuff. Right, well, without any further ado, let's bring in the man himself. Gareth, welcome to the Outcast Creative channel, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me.
What, you're actually in Australia now. What time is it there?
It is 6 a.m. So I've got my coffee here.
Yeah,
so all set, ready to go.
You got up early to do this this one for us. Good to see that we've got several regulars in the chat, and you know how we like to support creatives here, guys. So if you can put $5 or $10 on that crowdfunding campaign, we know you know, it might seem like a small amount of money, but it all helps. So getting money on crowdfunding campaigns is extremely difficult these days. Good to see Wormy Spoons in the chat. Proctofile, good to see you as well. Snorterpoopus, possibly the person with the most ridiculous name in the chat ever, but I love him. Great to see you. Keith, my microphone's a bit wonky, is it? I'll put it up here. There we go. Yeah, so good to see a few regulars in. I know there's other people watching as well. And don't forget, you can, of course, watch this on replay. It stays on the channel forever. So, Gareth, my first question to any guest on the Outcast Creative channel, and I'll have a few other quick fire questions for you before we get into the movie, is always, what is the first film as a kid that you remember being taken to see at the cinema?
I think it was Jurassic Park. I actually thought at first I thought it was Return of the Jedi, but then I was like, I was probably too young. So maybe when I saw Return of the Jedi, I don't know whether they released it a couple of times or what, but I think Jurassic Park definitely had a big impact on me. I would have been 11, I think, when Jurassic Park came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big one for me.
I mean, Jurassic Park's one of those. There are probably about 7 or 8 movies that were kind of benchmark epic films that pushed the technology forward. They were massive blockbusters, huge successes at the box office, and that is a film I remember seeing that at the cinema. I was a bit older than you, but I remember, this is you knew it was a game changer for the whole of the industry, because it was the first time really seen CGI used that effectively. It wasn't the first CGI movie. We had Terminator and 2 and The Abyss before that, but this one really did something different with the 3-dimensional characters. Now, what was the last film that you saw on the big screen that you actually paid for a ticket to go and see?
Oh, it's been a while since I've had a 3-year-old. It's been 3 years since I've been to the cinema, pretty much, because I had my son. Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, that'll keep you indoors, having a baby. Yeah.
And now you put me on the spot.
That's okay. Would it have been what was the one about making the nuclear bomb? Did you go and see Oppenheimer? Would it have been
No, not in the cinema. When I go to the cinema, I always like the big action stuff. So that's kind of that's my cinema go-to.
Sure.
I'm definitely itching to go and see 28 Years Later. That's definitely going to be my next cinema outing.
Right.
But the last one I saw, I don't know. I'll come back to you on that one.
Okay. Is there a groundbreaking television drama series since The Sopranos that you've had to watch every season, and you've said to yourself, yeah, no, this is good television. I'd like to make something like this one day. What would that be?
Again, with big dramas, especially something like The Sopranos or 24, I've never been able to sit down and get into it. I always come late to the party, but then if I'm too late, I'm like, I just don't have the time to be sitting through that many episodes. Right.
Is there a show that you've binge watched that you saw and you just had to watch all of the episodes? Something. I mean, there's a lot of shows now and then.
I enjoyed some of the Guy Ritchie stuff recently. I liked Mobland and The Gentleman. I enjoyed them.
Mobland was great. Really,
yeah,
that was great stuff actually. So great to hear that. What about an American? I know you're based in Australia, but is there an American actor or actress you are dying to work with that you would cast in your next project if you could?
They need to be American, do they?
They don't have. Well, you can opt for British as you're a Brit, but you're stuck in Australia.
I would actually love to work with Sam Neill. Maybe it takes me back to the Jurassic Park thing, but like Sam Neill, he doesn't seem too out of reach. He seems quite down to earth and all that. And
I've heard very nice things about him. I love him in The Dish, which of course is an Australian movie.
Yeah,
if you remember The Dish.
Yeah. So I think someone like Sam Neill, I'd be quite starstruck.
What about an actress?
Daisy Ridley. I think she'd be good fun.
Great. Okay. Do you have last of my quickfire questions? Do you have a guilty pleasure movie that you can work on a Sunday afternoon? You know, when you want to veg out, it's going to be one of the first movies that you reach for in your collection. What's that likely to be?
I think it would definitely have to be. Well, I wouldn't even say it's a guilty pleasure, but Star Wars. Big fan of the original Star Wars trilogies. Probably Return of the Jedi, I'd say, would have to be my favorite, just because I grew up in Formby, which has a lot of sand dunes. So I would always, as a kid, be reenacting it on the sand dunes, pretending they were Tatooine. So it takes me back to my youth in many ways. So.
Did you find a way to construct a Sarlacc pit in the sand dunes of Formby?
Yeah, maybe like some old bin bags that we could find or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that about Return of the Jedi, right? Because that's a very unpopular answer to say, which is your favorite Star Wars film? And when I was asked that, up until at least I was 30, I would always say Return of the Jedi, and people would go, "What? That's the worst of the original trilogy. Empire Strikes Back, the best one." And I'd be like, "Well, not for me. It's not, because Return of the Jedi had the biggest space battle of all time, and it had the Sarlacc pit action sequence, which is one of the best action sequences ever directed in anything ever." I mean, now when I look back, I think the first film is probably still my favorite, but at that time, I really liked Return of the Jedi. Still wish they'd done Chewbacca's family instead of Ewoks, but you can't have everything. So let's talk about your career, and we'll lead into your current project. When did you decide that a life of poverty suited you and you could become an independent filmmaker? Tell us about your lead into this career decision.
I used to my dad got a camcorder when we were younger, and I always used to make I had some hamsters at the time, so I would like make little nature documentary things, just stick the camera in their nest and watch them sleeping and all that. And then I used to do little animation things with my action figures, and back in the day I didn't know how to do stop motion, so I had to do the stop motion thing, but the only way to watch it would be to just fast forward the actual video, like the VHS, and then you could see the movement. And then that went on for a few years. As I grew older and stuff, we would go on holiday with my friends, and we'd take a camera, and I would then make a little kind of highlights of the holiday. We'd all sit in the pub and we'd watch it on the big screen and reminisce about the holiday. And then I got a job as a surveyor and the kind of filming stopped. I used to do a bit of photography on the side, but then I just kind of fell into boring work life. But surveying got me into Australia, so I moved to Australia 15 years ago. That got me the visa. I came in and then was doing a lot more photography and video kind of on the side. And eventually, once I got my permanent residency, I packed in the surveying and just followed my dreams and started a video production company based on, I made a Twitter video, like a time-lapse video of where I was living at the time. And somebody saw it from an exhibition and were like, oh, can you come and do that for the exhibition? And I was like, oh, you can make money from this. That's cool. So that's where it all started. And then did the video stuff, well, still doing the video stuff for many years. And then a friend started to do short films kind of, and just finding my way, meeting actors. And then we went to shoot a short film at this house. Somebody said, oh, we've got this property. Do you want to shoot a short film there? We were like, cool. How long are the owners away for? And they were like 3 weeks or something. And we were like, oh, well, why don't we make it into a feature then, seeing as we've got 3 weeks there?
Would that be the Hunted? Are we talking about the Hunted?
No, the Hunted was just kind of a YouTube video. Again, that was just learning my skills. So that was Saving Grace, which was my first.
So Saving Grace is the one we're talking with the 3 week shoot in the house.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah,
that was the one that I co-wrote and directed with a friend of mine, David Sullivan. And yeah, it was a tiny crew. There was literally myself, David, and a sound guy, and that was it. We all lived at the house. It was water only access, so we had to take water taxis every day, which was probably the biggest part of the budget, because the taxi drivers, they wouldn't give you the price until you got there, which was annoying. So they would just make up their own costs. So we shot Saving Grace, and oh yeah, there it is. And yeah, that did all right. It got picked up by Vertical Entertainment through a sales agent. I went over to AFM and shopped it around, met a sales agent, and yeah, picked up by Vertical, and then a small theatrical release in the US in 2022. And yeah, and then we moved on to Life After Mine. I actually hadn't finished that, and you know, as creatives do, kind of got a little bit bored of one project and wanted to move on to the next before I'd finished that. So
sure,
started Life After Man whilst finishing Saving Grace, which was
Gary Bolter was in Saving Grace, wasn't he? Sorry.
Yeah, so that's where I met Gary.
Right.
And we've been friends ever since. And he comes on a lot of my TV commercials that I shoot now as well. So I always get to see him, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. Gary is a fantastic actor, and he's also one of those people that, and we have worked together. In fact, several times, even though I've never met him in the flesh. In fact, his voice was in my last play on the London stage. He did this voice of a judge for me. But he is I can tell he's one of those people that if you have him on your set, that's positive energy right there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you're generally going to have a good day. So what was your budget on Saving Grace?
Budget was probably like 5,000 Aussie dollars, which is probably what, £2,500.
Yeah, so it was
really?
all hands on deck. Yeah, all hands on deck, mucking in, and yeah.
Everyone doing everything. The actors all helping carry the gear and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, but a good bunch of us, and you know, and all living together for, you know, that amount of time as well. We all just got on really well, and like a little family.
It's kind of a fun freedom to working at that level. I mean, I know it's very difficult. I just shot a short which had a slightly larger budget than that, but not by much. But there is a sense of everybody's up for it. You know, let's do the best job that we can. And yeah, that was
yeah, we're all trying to move forward. You know, it's just it's a bit of a stepping stone for everybody, so everybody mucks in.
Yeah. So okay, so you did Saving Grace. You had a little bit of success with that. Now, did that lead directly to the project that we're mainly focused on today, or were there other things in between?
No, pretty much jumped straight into Life After Man. Like I say, I think I even started shooting Life After Man before Saving Grace was fully wrapped in post-production and stuff. So a bit like Life After Man, the post is just dragged out. Obviously, nobody's getting paid up front, so everyone was kind of favors and stuff. And then so
did you edit the movie yourself?
Yeah, so I'm an editor as well, so
Right.
from that point of view I can do things like that, and then just trying to find the funds to like pay someone to do a proper grade on it, and then the sound design and things like that, which is what I'm trying to do with Life After Man. Like this time, I've got a young family and I've bought a property, so having a mortgage and a young child, I'm just feeling the pinch with the post-production side of things.
Sure. So let's talk about the process for Life After Man, being an indie filmmaker. Were you able on this project to, because it looks like, I mean, the story revolves around these two sisters, and casting them must have been absolutely crucial for the film to work. I'm guessing that you went a little bit further afield from just people you knew and actually advertised for the roles, maybe had some sort of casting process, or were these people you knew? Could you want to talk us through that?
Yeah, sure. Well, Caitlin there, the lead actor, she actually came to audition for Saving Grace, and she was kind of down to the last two, but I just thought she was a little bit too young for the character in Saving Grace. So this is what I say to actors, don't be down if you might not get an audition, because people will remember you if you do a good job. You never know what can come up in the future. So that was the thing with Caitlin, and I had Caitlin in mind when I wrote Life After Man. I was like, she would be perfect for the lead. So yeah, did a casting thing. Caitlin, she didn't even have to audition actually. So she actually came and sat in on the, I think she came and sat in on the callbacks. So I did an initial round of casting, got some people in, and then kind of the favorites came back, and then they did reads with Caitlin, and Aisha ended up getting the gig. They just had great energy together, and they kind of look similar as well. So
yeah, okay, you can believe that they're sisters for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So how many days did you have to shoot this?
We probably shot it in about 30 days. We all stayed down on like the main farm where the house is set. So that was just an Airbnb. So all that you see now, this is just a really cool property that I found, built by an artist. And the house is like a character in itself. It's so cool. Like so many great textures and stuff around. We were just spoiled, and it just lifts the production design as well. So yeah, we all spent like 2 weeks, again, cast and crew, just living together down at the farm, and we would like run out of water, and it was all solar power. So like the power would just cut out mid shoot, and we'd have to go out to the generator and put more fuel in the generator. And it was like we were living the apocalypse anyway. So it was pretty cool.
You've got to tell me about this actor who's on screen now.
Oh yes,
because he's got such a great and interesting face.
Yeah, so his name is Jack Charles, or it was. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, what a shame! Did he get to see a version of it, the film? Or
no, unfortunately not. He didn't, which is a real shame, because this is now his final piece of work that's going to be going out, and there's actually a news story that's going out this week to talk about that. And yeah, so I had an Aboriginal character that I put into the script. Obviously, being an Aussie film, I wanted to make it as genuine as possible, and had no connections with the Aboriginal community or anything like that. And then once I'd finished the script, I just did a bit of Googling, looking around, came across him, and he'd been in kind of films like Pan with Hugh Jackman and stuff. And I thought, oh, we're never gonna get him. But from this indie filmmaking over the years, I've discovered that if you don't ask, you don't get. So I'm not afraid to ask anything. So I managed to get in touch with his agent, and I just thought, well, let's just see. And it turned out that, you know, for a couple of days, I could probably afford to get him on set. So he lived in Melbourne at the time. I flew him out to Sydney. And I had to go. I was his chauffeur as well. Obviously, being independent, you got to
Right.
wear a lot of hats. So I got to spend a lot of time with him, and he's just an absolute. He was a legend. Like he won. He was Australian of the Year one year. Like he's an
Right.
absolute Aussie icon, and I'm just so honored that we had him in our little film.
Bit of an Australian Laurence Olivier in a way.
Yeah.
Of the of that community. Well, I really look forward to seeing his performance.
Yeah.
Just got such an interesting face, hasn't he? Just, you know, you put
Yeah.
him on the screen, got to look at him.
He's got an incredible voice as well. He should have been like reading, I don't know, novels and stuff, like voiceover stuff. It would have been great. He's such a character.
So your budget for this movie, I imagine, obviously you had a bit more to play with than Saving Grace. But you've got some pretty expensive things like horse wrangling. It's, you know, I mean, once you got horses on set, that even if it's just the one horse, that's a big increase in cost right there. Was that favors or?
Yeah, a little bit. Caitlin was learning to ride at the time, and she told me, like, I put a horse in the script, again, not knowing how I would achieve it, but that's just how I like to write. I'll put things in and I'll worry about it later.
Sure.
So I put the horse in, and then Caitlin was learning to ride, and she said, "Oh yeah, there's this lady who looks after old racehorses that are retired due to injuries or whatever." So got in touch with her, and she was like, "Yeah, I've got a bunch of horses. Come down and have a look." So found a great horse that only had one eye, so he's got this like big dry empty socket, so he really suited kind of the apocalyptic look. And yeah, she was great. She was like, you can have him for as long as you want, as long as you need, and you can just pay me whatever you can afford, type thing. So I was very lucky from that side of things. And yeah, there he is there with his one eye.
Did she come with the horse? Did you have someone to wrangle the horse on set? Or was that all just done between you, or what?
It was pretty much done between us. She kind of came on the first day and just gave us some tips and stuff, because he was a bit of a nightmare on the first day. She left to go and get something just as we were about to start shooting, and he didn't have a saddle on. So he just wouldn't listen. He was going everywhere, kept dragging Caitlin all around. And then as soon as we put the saddle on him, he was like just transformed, and he would do everything. It was weird. It was just like, I don't know, the saddle must give them some control thing. I don't know, but
yeah, it was time to work.
Yeah, exactly.
He's such a lucky find. He looks like he suits what you were going for. He looks like he's been through an apocalypse. That's the perfect animal for this. And
it just helps raise that production value as well, because it actually the budget was not much more than Saving Grace, really. Again, it was just all Airbnbs. The biggest thing the biggest cost was probably feeding everyone, because we were all staying at the farm. I think it's probably 14 people at the most time. So trying to give 14 people 3 meals a day, it soon adds up. Like that's a big trolley load.
I know about that. I just had a cast and crew of 24 for 2 days, and I think our food budget was just for those 2 days was £2,500.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and never go cheap on catering. You know, always make sure, if you're not paying people much, give them good food, because then that, you know, at least they know you're looking after them. So what was your biggest headache shooting this?
I think a big mistake that I did was kind of stopping halfway through. I think because we did a big bulk shoot, and then once we'd done that, we kind of stopped, had a bit of a break, and I just feel like the momentum slowed down, and then it was hard to get the kind of train going again. And in that time, in that break, I think the horse wasn't available again, and we still had like a horse day to go. So the horse changes and we had to get like some white chalk. We got another black horse with 2 eyes, but we had to get like white chalk and draw a little triangle on his head to try and match. And you can't even pick it in the film. Like I don't. When I look back now, I'm like, hang on, which day was this? Is this the new horse or the old horse? And we kind of lost Caitlin's wardrobe and stuff, so we had to kind of source that again. Anyway, so it was a big, because there was probably about a year gap, just because life. Just like life.
Damn, when you said a break, I thought you meant like a couple of weeks. I didn't.
That's what I was
think you meant like
thinking.
12 months. Yeah, that I mean, yeah, a year can cause. Yeah, that's
just life stuff got in the way, and people trying to get everybody together again.
I have had that happen on a feature film. On my last feature, The Journey, was shot with a 12-month gap in between. There was the first shoot, and then we came back to do the second one. And I won't bore you with the story, but a whole heap of stuff happened in between, and I had to do a massive rewrite of the script and to get it to work, and just to get it to finish. So so it's easy to understand why you now need the money for post-production. You're really kind of funding a bit, filming a bit, funding a bit, filming a bit more, funding a bit, post-production, and then hopefully you'll have your premiere in Sydney, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'd be a Sydney premiere.
And you can pay for that by hiring a cinema, advertising it quite a way ahead, and selling the other tickets to the public as a one-off. Is that what you're going to do?
I think that's the plan. Yeah,
because that's now what made you sort of go into the zombie genre? Because I mean, just watching the trailer for this basically could be Walking Dead Australia, except no, it would be 28 Days Later Australia, because your zombies, I think, are quick.
That's the thing. I was always a massive fan of 28 Days Later. I was in college when it was released, and I remember a CD, a DVD came on the front cover. It's probably Empire magazine, and they gave you the first 15 minutes of 28 Days Later for free, so you could watch the first 15 minutes on this disc.
I remember when they dropped that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
so that was cool. And I remember it just stopped right in the bit of the church when he goes into the church, and like you see all the dead bodies, and one of them just looks up, and then I think it ended there, and I was like, oh, I've got to see this film. So it was a great marketing thing. And then The Walking Dead came out as well, which I liked, even though they were like the slower zombies. But I always enjoyed the faster ones, and just I wanted to create that world, and especially show a bit of Australia, kind of not the outback, not like the red dirt, but more like country Australia that I feel like people don't really get to see, because it is quite beautiful. I miss the English countryside, but the Aussie countryside can definitely have a beauty to it, even though it's quite dead and desolate at times, and dry. You get some beautiful misty mornings and stuff. So and the houses that I sourced all on Airbnb, and all the Airbnb owners were all like, nobody said no when I told them what we were doing. Everyone was just like, yeah, great, you can film that here, no problem.
You know what? That's funny, because I was talking with my director of photography, Richard Oakes, who's doing a little horror film, very similar budget to your kind of thing, and he said they found the perfect house, and it was an Airbnb, and of course they decided to fess up and say, look, we want to film a little low budget movie here. Oh, we've got a separate link for that. Gave them the link, and film company, £3,000 to rent it out for a week, as opposed to 300. So that put the caboose on that. That was so. It's kind of, do you tell them or not? I mean, obviously, if you don't tell them, they could come back and sue you. So
and the risk is you don't want them turning up mid-shoot. Can you imagine if you were kind of halfway through and the owners what you were doing and just like get out, and you're trying to then get around what you've shot so far, and
and then you've got continuity issues, and it would be a big problem. I think they're probably, less amenable to that sort of thing in the UK and Europe than perhaps Australian outback, and well, you weren't in the outback, but the countryside. Well, maybe the rental market isn't quite as busy, shall we say?
Yeah, definitely. They're not in kind of popular areas, you know. They're kind of
No.
out in the sticks.
So you've probably got people grateful for the business, regardless, I would imagine.
Yeah, and a lot of them will give me discounts as well for booking. You know, we did like 14 nights in a row, so they would give me a bit of a nightly discount as well too, which was nice.
Let's talk about your actress here a little bit. This is your lead.
Yeah.
And did she have to train with longbow there?
Yeah, we only pretty much like one night. So we just went down to like a local archery center just to kind of learn the basics, because we thought, you know, nothing worse than she fires the arrows and people are then commenting going, that's not how you hold a bow, whatever. So we just took her for kind of a brief, quick archery thing, and then once we were there as well at the farm, she could have a little practice shooting at barrels and all that, whatever. So, and it worked. It was good, and actually it helped with the script as well. So there was a few little bits in the script based on what the kind of archery coach was saying. So there's a moment where she's teaching her sister how to shoot. So I used some of his terminology for her to then pass on to her sister. So that's good.
Would she kind of practice in her own time, get really proficient with this thing? Or
no, because she's never kind of shooting on, you just kind of see her draw and fire, but you'll never see where she shot. You know, she could shoot straight into the grass. We'd never know.
Right. Okay. Right.
So she wouldn't technically have to get that good.
That's all cunning editing.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the film. So what's the running time of the movie?
The running time it's about an hour 36, I think. I'd have to check exactly.
So obviously you need help with the various bits of post-production. I'll plug the Kickstarter where I can after this. What is the distribution plan? Are you going to the same people that you dealt with Saving Grace, or
probably not? I'm a little bit sour. I've probably got to be careful what I say. Basically, I haven't seen any return from Saving Grace.
A sales agent hasn't given a filmmaker any money whatever next. I've never heard of such a thing. Only about 5,000 times. Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, do I try and go down a self-distribution route? Yeah, because annoyingly, you can't see Saving Grace in Australia either, because I got kind of worldwide release, but they couldn't get it into Australia because they didn't have the contacts. And then when I contacted Australian distributors, they didn't want it. They didn't want it because it was already out in the world, and they said, well, we can't make any money from just Australia alone. So now, Saving Grace is an Australian film that you can't even watch in Australia, which is very annoying.
I mean, here's a great question from one of my moderators, Keith E. I kind of know the answer to this, but we will ask it because it's relevant to this interview. Does not the Australian government help small filmmakers? Just thinking out loud. So, he's basically asking what infrastructure is there from the Australian government to support independent filmmakers such as yourself.
Not a lot. I don't want to upset them. But, yeah, it's definitely tough, and being kind of a self-shooter on your own, like I am, and I don't have a producer. I'm kind of learning the ropes as I go, and there doesn't seem to be. I reached out to Screen Canberra because a lot of this film was shot down there, and they were like, okay, if you spend $1 million, we'll give you $1 million. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a bit far off my budget. So yeah, that's kind of where it's at, really, especially for me.
That's not very helpful.
No, I know. It'd be helpful if I could find $1 million to spend, but
well,
yeah,
you made Saving Grace for $5,000, and that does not look like a $5,000 movie. It really doesn't. I looked at the trailer this morning. It looks amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm
You're
super
welcome.
happy with it.
Yeah.
Considering you know, no gaffer or anything, just myself shooting and lighting. So,
but I mean, there is this, you know, it's almost like this worldwide underground movement of independent filmmakers. The ones that are really passionate still go out there and somehow find a way to get their movie made. I mean, we talked about Matthew Holmes, who's an Australian filmmaker, before you came on, and good buddy of mine. He's done this now 4 times with no support from any of the filmmaking bodies or grants or whatever. And a really interesting story that he told was he actually got a grant set up for independent filmmakers as a result of making his first feature film. I think it was called Twin Rivers. And so then, of course, he had to reapply. He had to then apply for that grant, which his persistence had got set up, and then they turned him down for the grant that he actually got them to set up to support people like him in the first place. I mean, can you believe that? How ridiculous is that story? So I think it's you know, governments and the artistic bodies are missing an opportunity here the world over, because if they supported you, the likes of you, properly, with, you know, you just said you made Saving Grace for $5,000. I'm guessing this one's probably around 10. So, you know, think of what you could do with 50,000 or $100,000, and also then down the road, think of the work that you're going to create as a result of, you know, and the jobs that you're going to create as a result of your productivity and output. I think it's very short-sighted of these people not to help. But what do I know? I'm just another whinging independent filmmaker. So got to protect my brethren. So I mean, what's next for you, Gareth? I'm guessing you're already halfway through writing another script.
No, this is the thing. I learnt my lesson the first time not to kind of jump on something new. So now is just I'm determined to just, you know, knuckle down and get this out. It's been 7 years now since we started shooting this, so it's dragged out long enough, and I just need that kind of final push. And that's my DOP.
I was going to ask if that's you in that photograph, because I was going to say, God, you look so much. You look so different. I'd better recognize you.
No, that's my DOP, Carl Jenner. He's a good friend.
But you shot this 7 years ago, so these 2 ladies must be substantially older now. That I'm guessing.
Yeah, but they haven't aged a bit. I actually went back to take some photographs of Aisha on the left recently for the poster. And then Caitlin, actually, we did an extra little shoot with her, a little pickup shot that I wasn't happy with. I did that recently, like 2 months ago. She hasn't aged a bit. You can't pick it at all.
Fantastic what these moisturizers can do.
Yeah.
These days. But I need to remember to put mine on more often, because I feel like I'm aging rapidly.
Yeah, so next, I would love to do another one, but at the moment, I don't know. It just feels like an expensive hobby at the moment, and it needs to. Life After Man needs to kind of get some sort of return. Yeah, which is a shame, because I love it. It's my kind of dream. You know, day to day, I'm shooting corporate stuff, which is all very well to pay the bills, but you know, this is filmmaking's my passion.
Yeah, your company is called Exposed Wolf. So you know, if you need a corporate or presumably wedding videos and that sort of thing, I imagine you cover everything.
I don't do weddings. Weddings are the only thing I don't do. But
really, so you wouldn't do like a high-end wedding that paid you substantial monies?
Look, I would never say no. But,
that's what I'm talking about.
As long as the money's there.
Listen, man, if someone comes in and says, "Look, I want you to film my wedding," I don't do weddings. Well, I've got a budget of £500,000 to spend on the wedding video. Okay, I do weddings. So what do you need? So because that's like 4 of your feature films right there.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, you never know. You never know. Let's have a quick look at the Kickstarter campaign. We've actually done an interview with two filmmakers. In fact, Matthew Holmes was one of them, and Simon Cox, who made Kaleidoscope Man, which was renamed, I think, Planet Invasion Earth by the distributors. We did a special stream on, crowdfunding and how difficult it is now to stand out, get money, and so on. And now, has Kickstarter changed, or is it you've got to raise this money, or you're going to get nothing?
Yeah, exactly. You have to hit your target. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't see a penny.
I mean, I don't know how many days you've been running for, but I've done a couple of campaigns, and it's a 24-hour job. You've got to be on this every day, finding a way to get it in more publicity for it. We're part of that. We're very happy to help you. Our channel is only 5,500 subs, but we're growing. And hopefully we'll be able to, when we're even bigger, we'll be able to give more practical help down the road. It's a very nuts and bolts, straight to the point campaign, which is good. So let's look at the rewards, because that's always an interesting thing. The two things I've always been told about by people doing crowdfunding campaigns is, one is the most important thing that you're selling is not necessarily the project itself, but you. People are investing in you, the passionate person behind the project. So it's good that you're on the video, because I've seen crowdfunding videos where the people behind it are not on them, and they're invariably almost never successful. Because they want to know who's behind the project. Who am I giving the money to? So we've got a digital film poster. We've got a survivor kit. It sounds like one of those things I used to buy as a kid, which had like a police badge in it and some chewing gum and a little cap gun, stuff like that. Then we have the scout reward, which is you get an inside look. I'm assuming that's some kind of like digital access movie behind the scenes, something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of with that one, you get your name in the credits, and you get kind of the pack of, the survivor kit is kind of like a fun how to survive in the kind of life after man world. So it has a bit of lore of how the world works from the movie and stuff like that. So, and then the next one is obviously t-shirt and the signed, I think that one's the signed. Yeah, the signed. Oh, that's the PDF of the script, that one. So signed script. And then obviously as you go through, you get the printed signed scripts, signed A3 poster, signed A1 poster.
So then, so if you get a pledge from Europe, because we did a crowdfunder, and our high-end item was a paratrooper jacket, production jacket. I've still got mine hanging up in the hallway over there. And we had one guy who bought one from Australia, and I'll never forget this. And when we went to post it, the postage for it was like about $80. It was expensive, man. And I was like, oh shit, posting stuff overseas. So I see you got this limited edition vinyl record, which is super cool. But what if you get postage for that? It's like Hawaii or something. You got to package that bad boy pretty well. It might get broken.
It's more the posters as well that I'm worried about, having to send a poster tube with kind of a script size thing, and I don't know, but I'll work that out later. That's my
you probably.
And it's kind of costed in, and a bit of Chat GPT. I was asking it how much is posters going to cost for this, and but yeah, the soundtrack's very cool. My composer actually lives in London. He's a Turkish guy who I just saw on a Facebook post. He said he was looking for projects to work on.
What's the name? Let's give him a shout out. What's the name of your composer?
His name's Aaron Akut. So ARIN.
I knew that name.
AYKUT. And he was awesome. He did an incredible job. Because music to me is a huge thing.
Very much so.
A bit of direction back and forth, and he just did an outstanding job. And you can listen to it on Spotify now, actually. the soundtrack.
Well, I found his professional Facebook page. This is not his personal one. It is his work one, so I think it's fine to share. And here he is. I do know this name. He's not on my friends list, but I've already got my composer for my latest project. But there are a lot of great composers out there hungry for projects. You know, if you're a filmmaker and you announce that you're casting, or you announce you're going into production on any social media platform, I see we've got a friend in common in Austin Staton. I guarantee you'll get 5 composers contacting you within the week who want to know what you're up to. So and do you have a composer? So yeah, so do check out. We've got Aaron's website here. Let's have a quick let's have a look at that.
That's highly recommended. He was great to work with.
Here we are. There's loads of samples there for other filmmakers watching, and here is a selection of his work. There's your poster.
Yeah, and that's that the soundtrack has been played on BBC Sounds, which is cool. How did you come into contact with this guy? With you being based in Australia and just social media. Yeah, Facebook post on one of the pages. I don't know, it was like a filmmaking page, and he just said, "Hey, I'm looking for projects to work on." So I just reached out to him, and we got chatting, and yeah, that was that. Yeah. Did you have much of a budget for your soundtrack? No, not at all. I mean, I did pay him, but it wasn't, it didn't break the bank. No, didn't buy him a house or anything like that. No. But his brother actually did like a live violin recording for the soundtrack, so that was very cool. We've actually got, I don't know if we can hear this. Let's have a quick, I don't know if I've got this on the right opener, but can we hear this? Can we hear that? You can hear kind of static, but I can't hear the music. Yeah. Did you guys hear that? No, I heard like a bit of static. Oh, okay. I probably haven't got it on the right page thing. Hang on, let's try this one. Okay, where is it? There we go. Tell me if you can hear it now. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's a pretty damn good piece of music there. I got chills listening to that. Gary Bolter, head of Outcast Australia, is watching. He's got up early. He's got his coffee. He's in the chat. Gary, I don't know if you want to. We're about to wrap up, mate, but I'm going to drop you the link in case you want to pop on real quick. Unless you're wearing your fluffy slippers, buddy. But I'll drop you the link real quick so you can talk about how brilliant your filmmaking buddy is for 5 minutes. So yeah, so I mean, okay, what are you going to do if the crowdfunder is not successful? What's the plan of action? Is that what is plan B? Plan B is like I've done with the rest of it. I'll just have to find the cash to try and pay for it myself. I think it'll just delay things. It'll just push it out even longer. So if people are keen to see the film, then any pledges are very much appreciated. Every little bit helps. If everyone can just throw $5-10 in, I think it just helps with the algorithm as well. If Kickstarter sees that there's bids going in, they'll push it out to more people. Yeah, I mean that is definitely true. It's one of those things that can turn into a snowball if lots of people start looking. Which can be very helpful. So I'm going to pop the Kickstarter link in the chat. I mean, it is already in the blurb below, but just for the benefit of the people in the chat already. Do go and check it out, guys. And look, now remember, the 7 people watching right now and the others which will come and watch later. I know how strapped you are for cash. I used to put money into Kickstarters all the time. I can't afford to do that anymore. I used to put 500 quid into some of them. But the one thing you can do is kind of what I'm doing now, which is I'm giving up a bit of time to plug this. It takes probably 10 seconds to do a post on Facebook or your social media. So one thing you can do is you can go on your social media and you can take this link and you can do a little post about it, and you can just say, hey, I've seen this trailer for this cool zombie movie. They've got a thing on Kickstarter. Why don't you check it out? That of itself is helpful. And listen, if everybody did that who watched this video, and then everybody else who saw that post then also reposted it, this film would get funded in no time. So sometimes all you have to do is do a personal post and give something a bit of a shout out. So if you can't put your hand in your pocket, if times are that hard, that is the other way you can help Gareth, is you can spread the word, you can do a post, you can tell friends about it. Of course, if you have a rich benefactor or uncle who's particularly into zombie movies, who has cash burning in his pocket, then obviously send Gareth their way. Oh, Gary Bolter can't come on because he's currently driving. He's on his way to set for a shoot. No wonder he's up early. Okay, fair enough. Well, that's good news that he got one of those casting jobs that he was going up for. So
back of his limousine.
What would be great, Gareth, is if you want to come back on the channel when the film is completed, and there is somewhere online where people can pay to watch it or download it. You can come back on and we can give you another plug, and you can tell us how the premiere went. We can share pictures of the premiere. Maybe you can get a couple of your actors to come on as well.
I'd love to. And
we can all have a look, sort of bit of a chinwag, and we can kind of pick this up. I'm guessing probably about 6 months down the road or something like that. You know, you're now an unofficial member of, well, not unofficially, you're an official member of the Outcast Creative now by virtue of coming on the channel and giving us your time, making a contribution towards the channel grow. It's a symbiotic thing. We want to help creative people on this channel. You help us by coming on, and we help as many creative people as we can by talking about their projects and promoting them. And I'm always interested in supporting projects, especially projects where people have not let the lack of financial backing stop them from creating. Because if I had done that, if I had always waited for the money to be in place, if I'd always waited for the paycheck that I thought I should deserve, I never would have created anything. You know, I've done 3-4 feature films. Only one of them's any good, but you know, I didn't wait for money. I just went out and I created. I've done 15 plays. Only one of them has been properly funded. And that clashed with another project that I had, so I couldn't direct it, which is hilarious. That play is actually on this week. So yeah, listen, Gareth, thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate your time. For those people watching, do check out Life After Man. The Kickstarter link is in the chat. It's also in the blurb below, as is Gareth's website. Again, if you do have a rich niece who's you know, getting married and wants an expensive wedding production, and that happens,
he's going to turn you into a wedding photographer.
Listen, man, I'm just trying to get you a big gig that's going to pay for your film. So you know, I've got my alternative mission here. Anyway, whatever. You need a production video for your company that makes Belgian cheesecakes or whatever it might be. Get in touch with Gareth Carr. I mean, preferably you need to be based in Australia. It might be cost ineffective otherwise. But yeah, do check this out. I think this is definitely a project worth supporting. I mean, it's a labour of love. They started it 7 years ago. Come on now, we've got to get this premiere on. Ideally before the end of 2025. We want to see a premiere in Sydney for this. Also, if you're an owner of a cinema or you're connected to a cinema chain, you can help Gareth get a cheap premises or even free to do a screening of this in Sydney when it's ready to go, why don't you reach out to him? People can get hold of you by your production company website, right? Which we've already got the link for down below. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right. Well, before we go, I'm just going to remind people that we have the Nielsen ratings on tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, where we're primarily going to be reviewing the film F1, as well as a couple of other shows and movies, including a great little independent science fiction film that I've just finished watching called Distant, which is pretty good. So, Rachel, see if you can get hold of that and watch it as well. It's got lots of big, nasty sci-fi spiders. It's kind of a cross between, cross between Enemy Mine and Aliens. It's going to be right up your your street. There is. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Razorhead. There's Gareth's website as well in the chat. No, check that out. A couple of other announcements as well, guys. My next play, this again, it's not properly funded. This is me doing the Gareth Carr thing on the London Fringe theatre scene. I've been trying to put this play on for several years, and the reason that it hasn't gone on yet is because, of course, I did the play about the post office scandal, the biggest miscarriage of justice in British history. That's actually the play that's been put on by another theatre company this week, the first time I haven't directed it. However, the play that I wanted to do, which was, a lot of fun, is actually Seven Magnificent Egos. This is the true story of the making of the 1960 classic Western, The Magnificent Seven, starring Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen. The tickets for this are now on sale. We are putting this play on in October in London at the Old Rose and Crown Pub Theatre in Walthamstow. It's only on for 6 performances. Tickets went on sale today. Now all I've got to do is find the rest of the cast. So I've got to do what they did in the movie. I've got to go out and find the Magnificent Seven. I'm producing this with a wonderful guy, Simon, who is actually playing the Steve McQueen part. I'm going to be in the play as well. I'm playing John Sturges, the film's director. It's going to be a lot of laughs. Gary would love to be in this, but sadly he's a little bit far away. Funnily enough, look at that. Simon Berry is in the chat. You timed that well, mate. Good evening. This play will be awesome. Of course it will be. So that's Simon Berry who's playing. You can see he's got his Steve McQueen haircut ready to go in that picture. So yeah, some exciting stuff happening there. Also, of course, we just finished shooting a short film for Mauler as part of Critical Drinkers filmmaking initiative, which I was involved in. We don't know when that's going to be dropping, but it is in the can. So I'll talk about it more when I know what I can talk about regarding that project. Okay, so Gareth, thanks so much for coming on. And anytime we can help you with anything, just reach out to us. And if we can assist you, we will. Rachel, thanks very much for being my co-host. I know zombie movies are right up your street, especially cat zombie movies. I haven't seen a cat zombie movie yet, but I'm sure there's one coming because they've covered everything else.
They exist.
Okay, you got to tell me about that. Rachel and I will be back with a few other suspects tomorrow night at 10 o'clock UK time, doing our weekly review show of new and independent movies and some old stuff as well. Until then, don't forget to check in on people you care about. Make sure you tell them that you love them, because the world's in a weird place at the moment and people are always pleased to hear from one another. And we'll speak to you all again real soon. Take care.
Thanks, Lance.